Roll call, please.
Miller,
Yes.
Ray,
Yes.
Hay,
Yes.
Briggs,
Yes.
Weber,
Yes. Approval of minutes.
I move we approve the minutes for June 23rd, 2025.
Second.
Miller,
Yes.
Ray,
Yes.
Hay,
Yes.
Briggs,
Yes.
Weber,
Abstain. First up, ordinance, 2 readings by title only and in passage. Bill number 2025-46, an ordinance amending Chapter 42 zoning Article 7. Mr. Slagle.
Yes, Your Honor, this is an ongoing process from what we've discussed, but this is about definitions in reference to auto salvage yards, and to cover the details, Nathan Mylombardo.
Mr. Mayor, members of council, this is a pretty simple change. As you know, we moved a lot of the definitions and other regulations out of the nuisance chapter and into the new code enforcement chapter. This particular definition was in the old nuisance chapter, but it's just a definition for the automobile wrecking shop and some conditions, and so we're moving it into the zoning chapter, and so it will just live there as part of the zoning because it is the definition for one of our uses. It's just the appropriate place for it.
That it? I move for reading of bill number 2025-46.
Second.
Miller,
Yes.
Ray,
Yes.
Hay,
Yes.
Briggs,
Yes.
Weber,
Yes.
Bill number 2025-46, an ordinance amending Chapter 42 zoning Article 7 Industrial District of the Code of the City of Mexico, Missouri. I move for the second reading of 2025-46.
Second.
Miller,
Yes.
Ray,
Yes.
Hay,
Yes.
Briggs,
Yes.
Weber,
Yes.
Bill number 2025-46, an ordinance amending Chapter 42 zoning Article 7 Industrial District of the Code of the City of Mexico, Missouri. I move for passage of bill number 2025-46.
Second.
Miller,
Yes.
Ray,
Yes.
Hay,
Yes.
Briggs,
Yes.
Weber,
Yes. On to resolutions. Bill number 2025-47, a resolution committing funding to the Transportation Alternatives Program, TAP. Mr. Slagle.
Yes, Your Honor, this is a grant application under the Missouri Department of Transportation, and this is for the Transportation Alternative Program, which means sidewalks. And this would be for a sidewalk extension along South Morris. To cover the details, Drew Wilford.
Good evening, council. As Bruce mentioned, this is going to be the next phase in Mexico's sidewalk improvements. You may know the first 3 phases have been along Muldrow Street. We're now completing that, so we have no more sidewalk along that Muldrow area. So we're moving on to our next phase, which we're skipping ahead a little, is South Morris Street between Boulevard and Lakeview. And the premise there is to eventually connect our downtown area with ADA compliant sidewalk all the way to a commercial district on South Clark Street. We have connected sidewalk that's already ADA compliant in some areas on the screen. You may be able to make that out in some areas towards the south. We built sidewalk on, for example, the Teal Lake extension or Teal Lake Road, and then ADA compliant sidewalk was built through Teal Lake Village and then the extension of Falcon Street. We don't have total ADA compliant sidewalk along Fairground. So that would be another phase of the project in the future that will be needed. But for this particular phase, this would construct completely new sidewalk along Morris Street, where we don't have any, and also along Adams Street. So it would serve a number of positive points of interest from our standpoint. Completing that network is a really good step, and even though not all of that sidewalk is ADA compliant, at least you would be able to walk in that entire area now and be out of the roadway. The other point is that it does connect several parks and the middle school and YMCA, so people will be able to take sidewalk all the way from those locations. This would be a 2080 grant, so 20% would be the city's share, with a total project cost of $432,331.34. The application deadline was last Friday. This is something that we put together rather quickly. We, at the moment, we're pretty spread thin with the number of projects we have, so I asked my interns if they would be willing to put this together, and they did an excellent job. I talked to MoDOT. It sounds like they would be willing to accept the late resolution, so we're proceeding here. We got everything else submitted to them by the deadline. We're proceeding to go ahead and submit this one last document to them tomorrow, as long as council's willing. If you have any questions, be happy to answer them. Otherwise, we'd recommend proceeding with reading by title only and passage.
I move for first reading of bill number 2025-47.
Second.
Miller,
Yes.
Ray,
Yes.
Eight,
Yes.
Briggs,
Yes.
Weber,
Yes.
Bill number 2025-47, resolution committing funding to the Transportation Alternatives Program, TAP, otherwise known as TAP, offered through Missouri Department of Transportation. I move for passage.
Second.
Miller,
Yes.
Ray,
Yes.
Eight,
Yes.
Briggs,
Yes.
Weber,
Yes.
Other business staff report, authorization of the purchase of a quick lock and seal system. Mr. Slagle.
Yes, this is within our sewer system, and I just think it's best if I let Drew talk about what this will do to help alleviate some inflow and infiltration into the system.
Sure. We purchased, we'll say, the first phase of this equipment, which allows us to essentially put a stent into the artery system, we'll say, the collection system. This piece of equipment, also from that Quick Lock brand, allows us to place what we would call an end seal, where the pipe comes into the manhole. The downstream end of the pipe comes into the manhole for lined pipe. So we've been using cured in place pipe for a number of years, over 10 years, I believe, here in Mexico to a great success. Keeps our pipe structurally sound, keeps it from collapsing. Also helps mitigate some of the infiltration we get from groundwater coming into the pipe. But what we have learned throughout that process is that there can be creases in that system where you end up having water trace along that crease. And our staff has seen it where even though the pipe's lined and some of that line is structural to keep the pipe in good condition, but the other point is to keep water out of the system. We've seen it where that water traces along that crease and just gets right back into the system at the manhole. So these seals would allow us to go ahead and seal right at the manhole only, hence the name end seal, and allow us to begin mitigating that issue or that potential problem. So we would go back over the next several years, place these at the places, at the downstream end of the pipe that has been lined, and begin mitigating that issue. We requested a quote from Key Equipment out of St. Louis, Missouri. They're the sole provider for this equipment. They're also who we purchased the first phase of the equipment from. They provided a quote of $22,791.17, and the budget for this fiscal year does allow purchase for both systems. We initially budgeted $53,000. We still have $35,000 remaining. So we would request permission to proceed in purchasing this equipment from Key Equipment for $22,791.17. If you have any questions, I'll be happy to answer.
Mr. Williford, how many connections will that provide for this purchase? Is it a supply, like inventory?
Right, so we have a few in this purchase, but not too many. We'll end up having to purchase some every year in order to keep up installation of these. And I think the number we were looking at, we have 3 of them. Yeah, we have, I think we've got one 8-inch, one 10-inch, and one 12-inch in there.
So it's a device and some supplies to go along with the device?
Right. Yep.
Okay.
So the device itself is doing the installation of it. It's actually a pneumatic device, so it uses air to install it. And then you have these sleeves that you use to actually install and expand. And each pipe diameter will need a different style of sleeve. So if we're going in to do 8-inch pipe, we'll say we would need the 8-inch variant. If we need 12-inch, then we would need to buy that 12-inch. So this gets us started, and then we'll start purchasing the sleeves as we go. And the sleeves are expensive. They are $500 to $700 purchase, depending on the size of those.
And can we select a citizen at large to go down the manhole to do those? Just
Probably.
kidding.
We always are interested in training opportunities. And we have an opening right now in the wastewater department.
There you go, Ron.
Sounds good.
You would like to do that, Ron,
Yes.
not the rest of us.
Unrelated question, back to the previous, the phase 1 and 2 on Muldrow, time frame on completion of that one?
Phase 1 and 2 on Muldrow?
On Muldrow.
Phase
I mean,
one-
we're already on 2, I guess, but.
Gotcha, okay.
But-
Phase 2 should be complete by the end of this week, and then Phase 3 is likely to start construction, I would probably say late fall or winter of this year.
Phase 2.
Phase 2 should be done this week.
This week,
Yeah.
and then the
So we
phase
had
3.
Phase 1 a few years ago, and that went from Jackson to Quisenberry. And then Quisenberry from Buchanan to Buchanan is Phase 2. That's what's under construction right now.
Oh, and
that's,
I see the pink is, kind of looks like the orange, I guess, to me on here, so.
yeah, I'm sorry, the
That's
colors
all right.
on there are a little, they're blending together even on the screen there, you're right. So that'd be Phase 2, and then Phase 3 would extend it all the way down to Boulevard.
Move that we authorize the purchase of a quick lock in-seal system for the wastewater collection system from Key Equipment at a total cost $22,791.17.
Second.
Miller.
Yes.
Ray.
Yes.
Haig.
Yes.
Briggs.
Yes.
Weber.
Yes. Staff report authorizing the repair to a wastewater lift station. Mr. Slavin?
Yes, Your Honor. The Route 15 lift station, one of our busiest lift stations, and upon pulling the pump, there needs to be some work done regarding bearings and seals and so on, and to cover the details of what we need to get done and repaired, Drew Wilford.
Oh, Bruce covered it pretty well there. Actually, we've noticed the pump was having some problems. Number one, there's 2 pumps in this lift station. It is our highest flow lift station. Thus far this year, it's averaged about 425,000 gallons per day of flow. Number 1 pump has been taken offline and is in need of repair. We have Van de Vanter Engineering, who is doing the analysis of it. They came up with a host of things to repair. Thankfully, this repair list is actually not nearly as expensive as some that we have seen in the past. We asked them for a quote for returning it to service. They provided that at $11,372.74. As Bruce mentioned, this does include repair of the rotor, the bearings, stator, several things on the pump that all were damaged essentially by wear and tear, but also by water entry in 2 parts of the pump that should not have that. So hence some of the seal problems that it had. The lead time on the repair is 10 to 12 weeks. We are doing all right. We're holding our own with that lift station, so we don't anticipate any trouble within that 10 to 12 week period. We do have a budget for pump repair of $80,000, but as you may know, we have had a number of repairs this year for pumps. So if authorized, this would overdraw that line item by about $4,000. We would propose to make up that additional $4,000 through savings and other line items so that we don't overdraw that category itself, the category of services for wastewater. So we'd recommend proceeding with the repair of the pump, of the number 1 pump, I should say, for the Route 15 lift station at a cost of $11,372.74. If you have any questions, I'll be happy to answer them.
I move I authorize the repair of the pump for pump station from Van de Vanter Engineering at the cost of $11,372.74.
Second.
Miller.
Yes.
Ray.
Yes.
Haig.
Yes.
Briggs.
Yes.
Weber.
Yes. Pay the claims. So moved.
Second.
Miller.
Yes.
Ray.
Yes.
Haig.
Yes.
Briggs.
Yes.
Weber.
Yes. On to comments. Council, Mr. Ray.
My condolences to the family of those kids who lost their life out in front of Walmart. That was a sad, sad deal. I'm sure that it was not fun to work that scene as well. And positively, the C2C program is off to a great start, it sounds like, and it's pretty neat to see Garfield kind of revive down there and that heritage. So looking forward to see what they can do for our youth. That's all I have.
Mrs. Briggs.
I don't really have anything. I've been gone, so I missed the Garfield thing, and I'm going to miss the open house for the Great Western next couple of weeks. But otherwise, it seems like everything's doing well in town, and I'm glad we're not having the really hot weather that we could have. And so and if somebody tell me where I can find fresh sweet corn, because it sells out so fast, that would be great. So otherwise, I don't have anything.
Good. Mr. Miller?
Well, I attended the C2C. I played the mayor part, and they said I was second fiddle. So anyway, but it was a pretty good event, and as Mr. Ray said, to look at the building and see what its possibilities are is kind of exciting. I also attended I'm going to call it the Teron Lou Street Vendor Fireworks thing, and it was very interesting. Had a lot of people come up and talk to me. I went last year, and just happy to see city people on the ground there. I did find I was looking for a pork steak. I thought I'd get a pork steak for supper. I looked and looked, couldn't find one. And pretty soon I looked over here, and there was a guy cooking pork steaks and chicken. He had just pounded up there. So I went over and said, "How much are they?" He says, "Oh, this is all free." He said, I said, "I don't want free." He grabbed the plate, threw it on there, and handed it to me. He says, "I don't know where the meat comes from." He says, "I just cook it." He says, "I just give it to people." So it wasn't all bad.
So you said give me some more.
He actually gave me two, and I gave him a $20 bill and said, "Here's a tip." He said, "No." I said, "We'll give it to to some group that you like." And he said, "If I give it to my grandson, he'll go down the street and spend it."
There you go.
So it was an exciting night. Well, I got to finish it. After I ate it, I went back and said, "Boy, I got my $20 worth." And some of the other guys were sitting at a picnic table and says, "Well, come over here. Here's the beer that goes with it." They're giving away beer, too. It was a full meal deal.
He's going to be busy next year since you said everything's free. Everybody's gonna be over there. Mr. Weber?
Don't have much, except saw both of the fireworks exhibits, and they were great, and I think we're fortunate to have both of those in Mexico, and it seemed like everybody was having a good time.
Good. Mr. Slater?
Nothing this time, Your Honor.
Nothing? Yeah, I got good reports. I was out of town as well, but there was always the good reports from Garfield, and everybody had a good time. My players said that they really enjoyed it, and I had them rate the fireworks, and they said it was really good, so we're happy to have those. And, yeah, so always good. Now time for public comments. If you want to make a comment, you can come to the podium, give us your name and your address, and you will have a 3-minute time limit to do that. So at your pleasure, if you would like to make a comment, come to the podium.
My name's Gary Biggers. A lot of y'all know me. I own the property at 510 North Jefferson Street. It used to be Custom Auto Glass. My son's got a shop in there, Biggers Graphics and tents, and does stereos and all, but it was in the new sewer project, or the waste or the water project. What they did helped somewhat, but the water still was coming down across our parking lot, and out in front of my building, it was Gus Luton that owned it previously, had concreted that whole part between the curb and the sidewalk because of the water problems it was causing in the basement. Well, they busted all that out, and they're not planning on replacing it unless we've still got the water problem. They found out what they did didn't work, so they put another drain in on the north side of our driveway and all, which I'm not an engineer. I've been in construction most all my life. I mean, I've done a lot of concrete work and all, but to me, that won't hold near. I mean, the box isn't about 2 foot square on the outside, but it's not very deep, and it's got a pipe coming out. But there's no way to vent that. As much water is going to come down there, I mean, it's not going to relieve it. Plus, the areas where it's at, the water's still going to run down that sidewalk and right out in that open dirt area. hence coming back into the building again. But I would just like, the thing was concrete to begin with, and they tore it out, and I feel that it should be put back concrete the way it was to begin with. Now, I know the city said, well, they kind of like a little green area now, so that's fine for residential, but this is commercial. I mean, I don't want green area. I don't want to have to mow. But anyway, the main problem is the water problem that it causes in the basement. I mean, we don't use the basement because it's wet. But you can't store anything down there. I mean, we've got dehumidifier running 24/7 and all just to kind of get the moisture out and everything. But I would like the council to look at this and see. I mean, like I said, it was concrete to begin with, and I want concrete going back. But
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening. I'm Iris Shoemaker. I live at 5 Branchwood Road here in Mexico. And I suppose you could say I'm maybe a representative from my neighborhood. We have a concern, and our topic that we'd like to bring to you is the ever-increasing amount of noise that we're having along Clark Street, in particular with the Jake brakes on the large trucks that come through town. Mike and I have lived within 2 blocks for 34 years. We lived on one side of the street, now we're on the other side of the street. And until the last few years, it was there, but it wasn't at the volume that we're having here lately. We're super happy that we have a great, strong ag, economy here. The mill has been here longer than myself, and that's a great employment. It's also great for our tax base, all that stuff. When we, expanded to the biofuel, same thing, but all of that is bringing in more trucks and more trucks. So we have several neighbors. It's been really bothersome to my husband in his ears for the last few years. We have a couple new neighbors that had mentioned that to us, and so we decided to move forward. So we kind of went around, and one of my neighbors and I walked around. We've canvassed others in the neighborhood, and our responses were, oh God, yes, please try to do something, was the first man I spoke to. And, all the way over to, oh, that would be great, that kind of a response. I don't want to lose my 2 new neighbors, but they have both said, if something doesn't happen with this noise, we may look for a different location. And they moved to our town by their choice, not for a job, just they thought we were a good community to be in. So I'd like for them to continue to think that. Back to the Jake brake deal. I was 16 years old and I started hauling grain for my dad. That's the way our farm worked. Okay, so we don't need to have a Jake brake noise issue because that's meant for inclines, like in mountains and hilly spaces, and we live on the prairie. So if they are driving the speed limit that's posted, there shouldn't be any need for that to sound. And one of my neighbors grew up on a farm, like Mike and I did, and that is not his career. Truck driving was not his career, but as a retired man, he is helping his friend who has a very, very large farm, and he drives their grain to town for him. And he said, one of my trucks that I drive, all I have to do is flip a switch. The older truck, I can break your windows if I chose to do that break. And I'm going to pass the ball to my husband. We did a recon mission this morning in regards to the signs. We found some, we didn't find some.
Signs.
Jake brake.
Oh.
Signs. It says no.
If you know my wife, I'm Mike Shoemaker, by the way. This is my better half here. for her to talk only 3 minutes is quite a feat for her, so I'm impressed with that. But we did survey, we went around to all of the entrances to Mexico. We found they were posted in every coming into town except 54 East and 54 South. We did not see any noise ordinance there, or there was no Jake breaks anywhere, I don't believe. And at one time, there was a Jake break there on South 54, I know. So if maybe that could be looked at, that would be super. I don't think it would take but maybe one ticket and the word would spread, or even just warnings. But it is very, very annoying. And if you've heard a Jake brake, it's about like a M80 going off, pop, 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 like that. And if you're only 100 yards, it's pretty loud. So that's basically it.
Tell me about that song.
Oh, there was a noise ordinance sign on 22 coming in, and it was so twisted, I could barely see it, and we were looking for them all. So that's another thing. They're there, but they're not. They're also with 3 or 4 other signs at the same time. So signage is important. So, thank you.
The signs are this big. And when you're driving 60 coming in and dropping down to 45, you're not looking at that little sign, you're looking at the speed limit sign. So if we could have bigger ones, so that those drivers are watching a lot. They're watching where they're driving, cars, people walking. I don't want to run over something when I'm turning my truck. Tell me about put some at the mill. Also, I think we should put some down by the mill. You can wait in line 2.5, 3 hours, 4 hours. You have plenty of time to read a sign if we have a city spot that you could put it down there. They would see it. You have a lot of time. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Girls want to say something? My cohort's in front.
Just out of curiosity, we have an ordinance and what's it say?
We do have an ordinance that says you
Okay,
can't.
that said don't do that.
Don't do that.
Okay.
And I will say, Council, Iris did come in and talk to me about this ahead of time, and I have mentioned it to Chief Metzko, and they'll be watching for it as well.
Okay. Anyone else? Not seeing anything?
I move adjourned.
Second?
Miller?
Yes.
Ray?
Yes.
Hay?
Yes.
Briggs?
Yes.
Weber?
I don't know, I kind of like to hang around and watch.
Yes.